Sean Haney here with Real Agriculture and Real Ag Radio, where we're at the Farming Smarter Conference in Lethbridge, Alberta. And right now I am joined by Breanne Tidemann. Hey, Breanne, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. Breanne, what's your role at the federal government?
I am a weed scientist in Lacombe at the Ag Canada Research Station there.
Okay, so you're here to talk about how we destroy those weed seeds. We've talked to you before. There's only so many ways, though, to actually get this done. Run us through there's now 3 options, correct?
There's 3 different mills. There's about 7 different harvest weed seed control options that you could use. A lot of them aren't great fits for Western Canada necessarily. They involve a lot of fire, which we don't necessarily encourage in the fall because of drier conditions. Hopefully drier conditions, maybe not this year, but most years we hope for drier conditions. But there's now 3 mills on the market. So those mills will build right into the back of your combine. So you have to get an adaptation kit. Yeah. Either way, one of those for your brand of combine, and they get built right into the back. So you don't have to tow anything behind anymore, which is a huge improvement. But yeah, there are 3 different ones. So there's the IHSD, or the Integrated Harrington Seed Destructor. So the Harrington is sort of the name that most people know. It was sort of the first one on the market. There's the Seed Terminator, also from Australia, and the most recent one is the Redicott mill, which is from Canada, from Saskatoon.
Yeah, we ran into the people at Redicott at Agritechnica. They were really, really pumped about their new mill, for sure.
Yeah, it's super exciting. It's the first North American mill option that we have on the market, which is huge, just in terms of accessibility. I believe they're only marketing in Australia right now with plans to market into Canada in the future or next year type of thing, but yeah, it's North American made, so that's huge availability.
So what kind of effectiveness are we looking for here? Is our goal to kill like 85% of the seeds, destroy 100% of them? What are we looking at?
So we kind of have to separate it into 2 separate populations. There's the whole field population, and then there's what's going into the mill. Of what actually goes into the mill from the combine, you're getting probably greater than 95% control from what we've seen across all 3 mill types. Of the field population, because you do lose some before you go through with the harvester, or you knock it off as the combine comes through, or it's too low for you to pick up with the combine harvester, those types of things. Typically what they're seeing in Australia, and I have to go from Australia because I haven't twisted enough farms here yet to have them really in the fields, 60 to 70% population control, variable year to year, of course.
And are certain weed seeds easier to destroy than others?
In terms of going into the mill, it seems like as long as they go in, they get dead, which is good. It's getting them in the mill that's challenging. So something like wild oats that doesn't have great seed retention, it's going to drop a bunch of its seeds before you go in with the harvester. That's where you're going to run into challenges of controlling those weeds with harvest weed seed control.
And for some people that have not seen these mills operate, what are they actually doing to the weed seeds? Are they just crushing them?
It's essentially impacting them. So the way Ray Harrington first described how a cage mill works to me was, if you were standing on one side of a double lane busy highway at rush hour on a long weekend and you tried to walk from one side to the other, you would be impacted multiple times and you'd probably be dead before you got to the other side. That's what it's doing to the weed seeds. It's just breaking them into bits by sheer force of impact.
Okay, so the concept all makes sense.
Yep.
What is the holdup to us not seeing more of these mills across Canada?
There's a few of them, I think. One, money. They're between $85,000 and $100,000, so they're not cheap. I'm going to show a few numbers when I present here, where there's a guy north of Saskatoon who's running 2 seed terminators, Josh Lade, in his fields. And for one terminator on his farm, over 4,000 acres, including repairs and maintenance, plus fuel cost, he averages it out to about $10.50 an acre. But that's not math that we've actually had really to show producers until now. The other one would just be, there's a bit of a sense that we don't need to yet.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that one. That is definitely, I think, a misconception.
I would agree it's a misconception, but I would say it's there. That there's a little bit of an idea that we don't need to yet. We've still got herbicide options, maybe not for some weeds. But there's a little bit less urgency, I'm finding, when I'm talking to producers about, it's too much money and I can find a better way to do it. Not necessarily with what that better way might be. So there is a little bit of that happening as well. And I think there's still, we don't know that it works here yet. Show me that it works here before I spend this kind of money on my farm.
Okay, so let's talk about that process. What needs to happen for us to show that, prove or disprove, to be honest with you?
So I think we've done some of it by putting some of those weed seeds into the mills and actually saying like, yeah, it's killing those too. Even kochia, it's really small, we're still getting more than 95% control. Some of it is the research that I've got ongoing with seed destructor in producer fields. So put it into a producer's field, harvest with it a couple times, and show me that you've changed that population. That takes time, so we're working on it. Some of it is going to be getting those early adopter farmers that are willing to take the risk and have it work on their farm or not work, either way, and actually have that as proof to show others. So like I got to speak with Josh Lade last week at a conference that I was at in Saskatoon, and it was phenomenal because he's an actual farmer using the technology, and it's so much more respected. But there's also guys saying I don't need it because I'm doing something else. And there's a misconception that it has to be one of these 7 very formal harvest weed seed control ways for it to be considered harvest weed seed control. But I was speaking with a producer on Twitter who leaves the kochia patches, goes back and bales them. That's harvest weed seed control. You're still preventing those seed bank inputs. It's the same thing, it's just a different method.
Very good point. Breanne, thanks a lot for joining us here today.
No problem, thanks for the opportunity.